Well, we're at the All-Ireland final media day. Kilkenny taking on Limerick in 10 days' time as we speak. Brian, you're at it a long time. You took over in 98. Your first season in charge was 99. I think this is your 17th final. What keeps you coming back every year?
That's really straightforward. I mean, if I'm managing the team, the championship takes place every year, and you obviously the ambition every year is to try and get to the All-Ireland final. So that's what you do. The years have gone by, obviously, and I haven't been counting them, but suddenly that's where we're at, you know. So it's just the way things have transpired, the way things have panned out. So it's where we're at.
Has your enjoyment of it changed over the years? Do you take different things out of it, or how does that work?
No, it's pretty much the same as ever, you know. I mean, hurling goes ahead, and hurling always has been there, you know, and over the years having played it and having been involved at the club and every other sort of level. So nothing changes from that point of view. It's just about always trying to involved with the team, trying to get the best out of a team, and players trying to improve and trying to get the right attitude and stuff like that. What's
the part you most enjoy? Is it your team winning a trophy? Is it when you see a lad coming into the squad and then maybe a couple of years later he's playing championship hurling? Mikey Butler, for example, famously was the water boy, and now he's one of the best man markers in the country. Is that the kind of stuff that you really like, or what are the key things that you take out of it? Because I guess if it was as simple as winning Liam McCarthy every year, very hard to stay at it, because you're not going to do that every year.
For sure, yeah, that's for sure. No, genuinely I'd say it's just the training sessions, training, to see the players come to training, and just giving everything in training sessions. All very, very good players. The panel coming together and fighting to try and get a place in the 26 on the match day panel, and trying to get a place in the starting 15, and the way they approach training, and really top attitude every single time they come there, and seeing the team develop and seeing the team improve, and the challenge of taking obviously the quality of teams that are out there as well. The challenge that's there is serious, but also working with great people, and management team, backroom team, medical team, all the various personnel, working with a really top class county board as well, to be fair, and the whole sense of the clubs that are in Kilkenny, and the whole hurling passion, I suppose, that's part and parcel of Kilkenny, is all to be able to be involved in that is enjoyable.
Yeah. What about the modern player? Are they much different to when you took over in 99? Do you have to treat guys differently? Are they kind of different now? You've got social media, you've got different challenges, you've had COVID over the last couple of years, which is throwing everything up in the air. What about those challenges and that evolution?
Well, I mean, when you talk about social media, that's a challenger for everybody involved in that, in the workplace and everywhere else, and families and young people. They face challenges in that. COVID has taken over the whole world and has affected the whole world, so that's a challenge that's not peculiar to hurling, but just to everybody. Also, of course, it took hurling away for a period of time as well, and took the opportunity for so much that's enjoyable about the training element of being there together and in dressing rooms and all that. That was some tough times for sure. Things different. I mean, the modern day player, well, you think about it, I suppose the reality is, when I started off, the players I was dealing with then were the modern day player at the time, so they were different to the previous modern day players, and then the modern day player keeps evolving, like the game itself keeps evolving. But generally speaking, hurling is hurling, people are people, and you get on and do the jobs in front of you, and you work with the people, and generally speaking, any player, all the people who have the ambition to be involved at inter-county level, they're seriously grounded and ambitious people who want to see how far they can go with their chosen sport.
I keep hearing over the last couple of years people saying young people want everything handed to them. It sounds like the guys in your squad are not that type of people.
Oh no, look, I mean, you don't get to play at the level that they're playing at, and all the other counties as well, obviously, but if they're the kind of people who want everything handed to them, it doesn't work like that. They're all lads in a lot of them go through college, through their college life, through their studies, some of them in various forms of employment, be it trades or whatever it is, farming, all the various types of people that are out there. And, players who devote their lives and look after the bodies and give the commitment to achieving success at the level we're at, they're genuinely ambitious people, and they don't expect any kind of easy kind of way through life, Yeah.
Do you feel almost sorry for the younger player now, because they have so many challenges, even if they're not hurlers, like trying to buy a home, just everything that's going on in the world at the moment?
That's tough. It's really tough. It's hard, It's pretty awful, really. You see the challenge it is for young people to like I said, to buy a home, to get on with life and everything else, and that's tough. And then the whole COVID situation. I mean, you're only like the whole COVID thing, everybody, we all feel sorry for the older people and for very, very obviously the people, the vulnerable people. But I always feel very, very sorry as well for the younger people, because you can't return and go become young again. If you're 2 or 3 years are taken out of your youth, you can't go back to it and live the life that all of us had the opportunity to live at a certain age. So that's tough, as well.
Yeah. What about your own experience of COVID? How did you find it during the worst of days? I know, look, we've played a couple of championships since it all kicked off and whatever, but this is the first normal final, if I can put it that way. But what about your own experience? Was there times when you thought, God, we might not get back to hurling? How did you find it? How did you get through it?
I got through it. I was like everybody else. I was careful. I'm concerned about obviously family and friends and people I know and people anywhere else who had difficulty with it, had sickness with it, and obviously, unfortunately, people passed away because of it as well. And the whole situation in nursing homes, hospitals, stuff. I mean, that anybody would have to be a kind of just feel for all of that situation. And it was a horrible, horrible time. And unfortunately, it's raising its ugly head again, and it's not gone away.
Yeah.
And we have to realise that, and it's going to be around probably for quite a while with us, So it's tough, and sport became secondary and everything else, and survival for a lot of people was the name of the game, and staying safe and everything else. But sport then coming back, albeit in empty stadiums and everything else, but the opportunity to watch games on television or whatever was very, very important to a lot of people, especially people like who were isolated in lots of ways, be it where they live or whatever it was, or living alone and all that kind of stuff. And hurling was sport in general, all various sports. Just have them on television and be able to watch them was great for everybody.
And I know you've a job to focus on, but do you and the squad realise the joy that you're bringing to people by getting to an All-Ireland final, by winning Leinster, and how I think we're still kind of enjoying the simple things, the normal things. We haven't quite kind of taken them for granted, or we haven't got back to taking all that stuff for granted. So do you realise how important you and the lads are in that sense?
I suppose we don't think as much about that, but certainly I understand what you're saying, because all of us, I wasn't always the manager of Kilkenny, so I knew the excitement that part and parcel of that is. So you can see it around the place, excitement is there, and the satisfaction of seeing your own county doing well is important to people. And it's great that obviously people are able to get back to matches and be at matches. Like I said, it's the first normal All-Ireland final we've had, and that is terrific.
Yeah. You mentioned after the semi-final that you got a good 4-week training block because you went the straight road, because you won the provincial final. I'd like to get into that if we can. Why was that so important? What did you get out of it, and what did you do?
It was important because prior to that it was just week on week, and if we play a match on Sunday, you have another match to follow on Sunday, you basically try to recover. The bodies try to recover, and injuries and everything else. The players who weren't involved have to keep doing a bit of work, all right, just to keep in line with the rest of the players. And it's difficult then, because to me the panel is everything, and the players are not given the opportunity to get out and just take on, look at, I should be playing and fight for their places and everything else. And the 4 weeks then, it gave us a really good opportunity to try and get out there and work together as a panel and I suppose do a bit of planning and preparation properly and that. So the first to give us a chance to we play a Leinster final maybe on Saturday or Sunday, we can rest for 4 or 5 days, let the bodies recover, and then get back into maybe have 5 or 6 good training sessions, be full-on training sessions, and then be able to just cut back for the week of the game as well. And that was the first opportunity we had really to do that, and it certainly was great to see. You could feel the whole thing rising. You could feel the whole intensity levels and the whole sense of everybody feeling, look at, I get my chance now that I wasn't able to get before, and that's important.
In that 4-week block, do you guys coming to you and saying, Brian, what do I do to get into the team? Do players have that kind of relationship with you that they can come and say, I haven't been playing, what do I need to do? Or I have been playing, where do I need to improve? Yeah,
well, obviously some players will find that easy, other players will find it not quite as easy, but that opportunity of course is there, without a shadow of a doubt. And obviously it will be our responsibility to go to players that you feel might be wondering as well and say, look, come here, just give them a few of the things that we feel they could improve on.
Yeah. What about the way you're playing against Wexford? I suppose you were criticised for going too long. It's been noticeable in the last couple of days. You've worked it through the lines. I spoke to Paddy Deegan about this. I said, you're a cornerback, but you actually get to hurl. It's something cornerbacks of the past didn't get to do. Are you glad that guys in that position now actually can get the chance to show off what they can do? They can get up the park, they can use the ball, they aren't just, as Tommy Walsh famously said, getting the ball like they love it and getting rid of it like they hate it.
Tommy. Look, I mean, the game is the game, and I mean, I would say, prior to previous years as well, full-backs, cornerbacks could play hurling as well, It had been over the years, but there's several examples of great players who could, and did obviously play that with a freedom and with an enjoyment. But like the game, I mean, the whole sense of thinking that suddenly we're starting to use the ball in a short way or in a mix it up or whatever. If people want to look back over the game for the past few years, it's been happening there as well. The fact that we didn't be successful kind of suggests that, okay, let's find ways to say that why didn't they win, because they lumped the ball up the field. And then you go look at other games and you find plenty of teams beat the ball up the field and play a long ball as well. It's part and parcel of the game. And I suppose if you examine hurling, the majority of goals are scored by long clearances up into the square as well. So it's a question of, we would always be encouraging the players to use the ball, always keep the ball to the man in the best position.
Yeah.
That could be short, it could be medium, it could be long, and that's the way it is. I suppose there's always focus on us as regards the sense that we tend to do certain things, but I don't always agree with what's been said.
Yeah, and over the years you said there's no tactics in hurling. I don't think anyone's buying it though.
Well, I mean, what's tactics? Tactics is, it's an instinctive game. You can't just tell a player, look at, if you get the ball there, you are to hit it over there.
Yeah.
You get the ball there, you do what you think is the right thing to do. You use your own hurling instinct and hurling brain, and that's thankfully that we have players with that ability.
And how much of it is it about players talking to each other about that? Because again, going back, you'll think I'm obsessed with Tommy Walsh, but going back to a story he told a while ago, he said before, I think 2011 or 2012, Richie Hogan said to him, look, you keep hitting him in on top of the square, and actually that's not where I'm going to be. And Tommy then in the next game hit a diagonal, which Henry took, in fairness to him, and it was a lovely point, and people said, you've got this great relationship, it's almost telepathic.
Yeah, and Tommy's a brilliant man to tell stories as well. So tactics are in every sport,
Yeah.
I mean, you can have fantastic tactics worked out before a match day, and the match day can take on a whole different game. And again, like I said, you don't get time to ponder, should I or shouldn't I or will I or won't I. The skillful players will deal with the ball that comes in, and they'll deliver the ball in whatever way the ball should be delivered. And it's always about the support of all the teammates and getting on to breaking ball and support play and all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's easy enough to talk about it and to kind of pontificate about it, if you like. Yeah. But come match day, players' instinct has to take over.
How important that in your squad you've a lot of guys who've experienced an All-Ireland final. A lot of those guys might not have won one, but they have experienced maybe one or two, and you have a few guys there who have won one. That's a good mix, isn't it, going into an All-Ireland final?
Yeah, we probably have more than ever who haven't played an All-Ireland final as well, though, this time. We have quite a few players who haven't actually played an All-Ireland final. And again, that doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm not concerned about it. Obviously, Limerick players have all sampled in a big way the last couple of years. But again, it's not something I dwell on or consider about at all. These are the players who are there. And again, I know it's All-Ireland final day and it's a massive day and there's build-up and everything else. But lads are out for 25 minutes on the pitch warming up, and suddenly it's just we're hurling, and it's touch and it's catch and it's strike and it's all those things. And the ball is thrown in then, and it's you are wherever you think you are then. You're in Croke Park on All-Ireland final day, but the same things apply as if you're at home in Nolan Park or in your club playing a hurling match.
That's easy to say though, but do lads need to have had that experience of playing in Croke Park to treat it like it's any kind of normal game?
Some players thrive on it, some players just adapt very, very easily, and some players will find it difficult, there's no doubt about that. I think it's a responsibility of management and people around the team to ensure that they are able to deal with it, and that's a responsibility of ourselves, it is.
Normally you'd have maybe 3 weeks to 4 weeks to prepare. You only have 2 weeks. As we speak, it's 10 days out. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I would prefer another week, probably. I think everybody would, because the first week is about recovery. Game last weekend, the Ireland semi-final for the teams involved is going to be recovery and rest. Niggly injuries then become a situation as well, where players are just little knocks and bruises, have to recover from that as well. 3 weeks would probably be ideal, but look, it's 2 weeks, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm just very, very happy that we're the two teams going to be playing, and we're one of them. So that's grand. And like I said, 3 weeks would be nice, but it's not there.
And in the lead into a final, do you try and take your mind off it, or do you think about nothing but do you obsess about it? Are you horrible to be around? You're obsessing to that level of...
No, I'm not a bit like that, to be honest.
No.
To be fair, I'm genuinely not.
Okay.
The thing goes on in my head, and I kind of pretty relaxed about it usually, and don't get stressed out. Training sessions go ahead, training is enjoyable, and you see what's happening, and you think about things. Obviously, you look at stuff and you prepare, but I don't obsess about it. I'm not difficult to be around either. That's just who I am.
And do you have, and I'm obviously not asking what they are, but do you have your team selected in your head, and do you know what your kind of game plan is, or could that change right up until the last minute?
Well, I suppose the fact that we don't tend to have a settled team would suggest that I don't have a team in my head. Like, I mean, for some teams, we could almost say, well, exactly, that's going to be the team. I genuinely don't know our team yet. We're having a very, very good training session, hopefully the weekend, and I will have a better idea after that. But that training session will be important, because I genuinely feel that we have a panel of players are very, very even, and I think we could replace 2 or 3 of our team the last day by 2 or 3 other players who would be equally as good. And that I would always say that the players know that, and they always realise, look at they can never be certain we're going to start, because they know that. I think it's disrespectful to the panel to think that, okay, we just have 15 or 16 players, and if we lose any of those players, then we're dipping below where we need to be. I think we're not dipping below where we need to be. I think the players who are really, you watch their body language, everything about them, and suddenly you might say, we'll pick him, and we won't pick him, and that's what it'll be.
And have you ever changed things last minute, or has it always been the same system for you?
In what way now?
As in, if you're thinking of, all right, I want to put this guy in the half forward line, or this guy in the half back line, or you know what, I want to play diagonal ball, and then maybe you get to a day before the game and say, actually, you know what, don't hit the diagonal ball that I told you to. Have you ever changed your mind that late, and has it worked or otherwise? Or what learnings have you, I hate to use that rugby word, but what learnings have you taken over the years?
I'm capable of making that change, definitely. I could do that, and probably have done over different times. Suddenly we think I have a team in my head, perhaps, whatever it is, and obviously with the players, other management team discussing and talking and everything else, I might have an idea in my head, but someone might suggest something, and I would suddenly say, no, you're dead right, that's what we'll do, so I will be flexible with regard to that, because again, why? Because I believe that we have the quality of player on the panel to bring whatever he brings to it.
Yeah, you must trust your players an awful lot to change it that late.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think you have to trust your players. I mean, it's played out on the pitch, and once whistle goes, we might as well be above in Hill 16, because we can't communicate with the players. You're there, but going at half time you talk to them again, but everything unravels on the pitch.
Brian, the best of luck in your 17th All-Ireland final. How does it feel when people keep saying that to you on a day like today?
It makes me feel old, I suppose, really.
You don't look old. Brian, thank you very much.
Cheers, Oisin, grand.